Have you pressed record on the camera?
Here we go.
So you want to know how to get seriously flexible, or you want to learn what this thing called end range strength is that I keep talking about? Well, in today's show, we are talking to a master, an international coach, Joachim Hilderson, all the way over from Belgium to do a workshop with us this Saturday. Stick around, you don't want to miss this one. Hey everyone, in case you haven't met, my name's Rad Burmeister. I'm one of the co-founders of Unity Gym and co-creators of the UMS, the Unified Movement System, where we turn driven people into superhumans. And the way we do that is that we've created a program that has a balance between strength and flexibility. If you want to know more, download one of our free blueprints, the Strength Blueprint, the Flexibility Blueprint, or the Nutrition Blueprint. As always, I'm joined by my brother Yanni over here.
Unity!
And Phil, our resident physiotherapist. But today we have a very special guest, international coach all the way from Belgium, Joachim Hilderson. How are you, brother?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
If Joachim yawns, we've literally flown him over for this podcast. He's got to go 20 hours back on the plane after this, so bear in mind that he has just done 20-something.
When did you get off the leave the airport last night?
Yesterday at 10:30.
10:30 p.m.
Yeah.
And your body's telling you right now that it's about 2 a.m., right?
Yeah, it's nighttime.
Yeah.
Middle of the night.
Yeah. Good times. And this is your second time to Australia, yeah?
Second time, yeah. Second year in a row.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, man.
Good.
Look, this is an exciting moment for me because Yanni and me, when we set out years ago that we wanted to create a world-class facility and we wanted to be the kinds of people that would attract, international coaches to come and work with us. And I've been working with you for a while. I've been following your stuff. So it's really cool to have you here, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for flying me over and having me, man.
Well, you just missed the bushfires, the floods,
pandemic,
but considering what we've had recently.
Everybody was scared, get some masks and whatever, But
so I want to, I think a really cool way to start this conversation, I want you to tell our audience and Yanni and Phil what you told me about what the Jack Russo method is and, how that came about.
the Jack Russo method.
So this is what Joachim teaches, the Jack Russo method. And I'd never heard of it before. So I asked him when we were having brunch, I said, what's the Jack Russo method?
Yeah, maybe it's good to clear it up because I get questions all the time, like who the fuck is Jack Russo and where can I
learn
find
his
stuff?
method?
What's his website and all that stuff. But so actually it's just all fun and games. It's my nickname is Jack Russo. It came about last year in Bali because for a lot of Australian people it's very hard to pronounce my name. So people
how do you pronounce it properly?
Joachim.
Yeah.
Joachim. Yeah. And most of the Australians,
That's all we can handle.
they were like, all right, Joachim, what the hell is it? So one dude, Will, started calling me Jack. And in my mind, Jack Russo was a famous actor. And I said, if you're going to call me Jack, just call me Jack Russo, right? Mm-hmm. But I got it all mixed up, of course. It's not a famous actor. I was confused with the French philosopher Jacques Rousseau. But it stuck.
Which is even cooler.
Yeah, I couldn't come back from that. So it was Jack Russo from that point on. And if you actually Google the guy, it's a fat, bald guy. Like, nobody knows who he is. But the name stuck. And because I give workshops and because I teach, flexibility, it's been labeled the Jack Russo method. It's actually not really a method at all. It's just what I have been learning over the last couple of years, and it's all fun and games. But, I just went with it because it was funny.
Was it an Australian guy who decided to call you Jack?
Yeah,
Will from Wollongong, yeah.
Classic bloody Australians, hey? It's like, too hard, we don't do, we're not bilingual, we never learn another language, it's just,
You're Jack from now on.
Yeah. See, I reckon you're underselling yourself, man, because I think it is a method that you teach. Because when the conversation that we just had over breakfast, you were telling me these coaches that you've learned from, where you've, taken a bit from this guy and, got rid of the stuff you didn't like, and that's what all good methods are. It's I'm sure you're aware of, or maybe you're not, but Bruce Lee's famous saying where he says, take what is useful, dispel what's not useful, add what's uniquely yours, and then come up with what you've got. And man, I've learned from a lot of people, but what I've learned from you is unique, and it's been awesome, man. So I love that. Isn't that a cool story about how the Jack Russo method?
Jack Russo, single syllables. Don't Don't get us to have two syllables in the name, one word. Otherwise, we get lost.
But it's on his Instagram page. If any of you guys that are watching want to check it out, on Instagram you're Hilderson Joachim.
Hilderson Joachim, yes.
Yeah, so Hilderson and then Joachim. But his logo, his picture is the Jack Russo method.
Jack Russo method.
So
and
I was
it's actually, my logo is 2 shoe brushes.
Yeah.
2 shoe brushes.
Yeah, because
story there?
when I travel, I always use something as a soft tissue tool.
Right.
And we all know people oversell the soft tissue tools. They're expensive, and they're not always even that good. So I found, like probably 2 years back, my parents' house, it had like this shoe brush, and I started using the handle just to poke some areas like the bicep tendon and all that stuff, and it seemed to work so well. So I travel with a shoe brush, and that's why now my logo is 2 shoe brushes.
Love
That's
that.
even better.
If you buy a set of Graston tools, that'll set you back about $3,000 or
A
so.
lot. Yeah,
So
the shoe brush is like $7 or
Hey,
$6.
man, not if you've got the Jack Russo
You've got to
shoe
get the
brush.
Jack Russo shoe brush for $39.99.
We'll be
That's
selling
a
those at
little
the
bit
end of
better.
this podcast
I'll
for about
brand it, I'll brand it
$900.
for sure.
Yeah, it'll be up right next to the rolls of toilet paper as the most expensive thing on the market.
So tell us a little bit about what you do, man. Like, what your training involves and, what your philosophies are around.
All right, good question.
Maybe we could even start. Who did you start learning off? Like, who have your influences been? Who are the people that have really made you go, this is the guy that helped shape my training?
Yeah, of course. I started a little more than 3 years ago. As I had a background in bodybuilding for 10 years. I was pretty huge, but that's all.
That's all history now.
Yeah, it's all history now, man. Like, I got sick of it. I got injured. My elbows hurt. My shoulders hurt. My knees hurt. I had 2 knee surgeries. I stopped training, lost the drive, and then obviously people need to work, so I started doing shitty jobs, kind of. And it wasn't for me, so I returned back to what I knew, what was sports and bodybuilding, because I spent a decade getting huge. So I got a job as a personal trainer, and luckily I got a lot of influences from a lot of people. I spent, a little bit of functional training, picked up strength training, picked up a lot of things that were just not completely bodybuilding, but a little bit more in the functional realm, let's say. But I actually installed this app called Instagram, of course, and I saw all these people doing gymnastic strength movements, being really flexible and strong at the same time, and I was very impressed. So that's then, and then I started going from there. Obviously wanted to learn, thought I probably would be fine doing it on my own, scouting the internet. I'm a little bit of a, I get obsessed with things. So whatever.
I feel like people with bodybuilding backgrounds, as soon as they it's that kind of mindset of just like so focused on one thing. Anytime they just shift focus, it'll be just
It's very true. But I think that what you just said, you become obsessed with things. Like we can certainly relate to that.
Yeah.
Anyone who gets to that sort of level in anything, there is a level of obsessive nature. You know? I think you almost need to.
Yeah, I think so as well.
To master something.
Yeah, for sure.
You, I've seen some photos of you. There's one that comes to mind where you're lifting your leg to your head and your knee looks like it's in hyper extension.
Yeah, it hyperextends a lot actually.
Yeah, really.
No, it used to not hyperextend at all, but it just shaped that way through mobility training.
Yeah, that's what my question was. You haven't always been hyper mobile in the joints.
No, definitely not. And most joints still aren't hypermobile, but my knees, they are. I just started doing a lot of Jefferson curls and variations, and they and always with completely locked straight knee.
Yep.
Because you see the people that don't straighten their knees in the Jefferson curls, they kind of lose the benefit of strengthening the back of the knee as well as stretching the calves kind of thing.
Yep.
And if you're used to straightening the knee completely, it'll transfer to body weight movements like presses to handstand and all that stuff, and it usually just looks better. So
how do you find your knees now with the hyperextension? Do you have any issues with if you had to jog for the bus or anything like that? Do you get any?
Never had a problem with that. I had a lot of injuries. Usually they were my fault, but knees have never been a problem. I've done Jefferson curls a long time. I did 20 kgs on a 68 65 kilogram frame for months on end, and then went up to 30 and 40 after many months. And then even at a day, like I never went over 40, and then one day I thought, let's just test my max with, hyperextended knees. And I went up to 72.5 kilograms, pulled it up perfectly fine. Stupid that I am, sometimes I went up to 75 and my knees almost snapped because of the pressure, but that was it. But I was actually pretty surprised I could pull 72 and a half on a 65 kilogram body weight.
Before working with you, I had an idea of doing much heavier Jefferson curls that I've been doing now. You find that you get better results from not going too heavy with it?
Yeah, I don't, it's just one of these things. It's still something that we're aiming for mobility, we're aiming for range, for comfort in a deep position. So lighter loads, they assist in the stretch, but they don't let your body get tense and just stop. Because once you get too heavy, it's not an end range strength thing. It's not your max range you're going into, because your body's going to be a little bit careful. Nervous system's going to be maybe. It's the brain. The brain has to think it's safe. So if it's not perceived as safe, you're not going to go as far. So I don't see too much benefit in going very, very high load most of the time.
Yeah, man, I got up to 32 kilograms and then I dropped back to 20 kilograms and I'm getting better results with that. And then I play around between 16 and 25. I find that's a really sweet spot for me. It just depends on what I'm trying to achieve in the workout. Like if it's a working set or if it's just a warm-up set or something like that.
Yeah, and hopefully that should sound pretty familiar for what we've been talking about with how flexibility is actually developed. It's your nervous system trusting that movement and not locking on. It's not so much your muscles, becoming these long, extra long muscles. It's about your nervous system. So
indeed. And there's ways to scale a Jefferson curl, for example. Now that we're talking about the subject, I rather go from 2 legs, just a bilateral Jefferson curl with 20 kgs to a 15 kg Jefferson curl that's staggered.
Yeah, single leg, you mean? Yeah.
Staggered it in like one
leg
foot.
bend. That's what I'm doing at the moment. We have one leg straight and one leg bent.
Firmly planted, and the other foot's just barely on the toes. And you get all of the stretch going into the back of the knee, the hamstring, the calf. Your face falls flat on your shins, and it's a very, very deep stretch with only 15 kilograms. So I prefer those type of things over just pulling a body weight Jefferson.
Not sure if my face would be flat on my shins when I do it.
It takes some building up.
Yeah, for someone who I guess hasn't got to the level where their face is flat in their shins, would you suggest they give the one-legged a go, or do you think work on 2-leg until you get to the point where
I'm very precise in my build-ups. Like I said, I got injured a lot of times trying to test out these things before I got, to learn from my teachers. Too much frequency, volume, too much interest in different exercises. So I was playing all day, which was a huge strain on my body. So with my clients, I'm the other way around. And I let them do a lot of the same stuff for a long time, but usually that reaps a lot of benefits. So before they're kind of perfect with just the 2 legs on the box, like they're not doing anything else.
So
they should be already nose to shins already, before we're going into staggered.
Guinea pig sounds a bit familiar with
those
coaches trying out things so we don't make mistakes.
Hey, that's what we're here. That's what we're here for, guys. To mess ourselves up so you guys don't have to.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Right.
Guys, if you've just tuned in, this is Joachim Hilderson, international coach from Belgium, doing an end-range strength workshop at Unity Gym this weekend. Whilst you're watching, if you want to pull out your phones and have a look at Instagram, put in Hilderson Joachim and check out some of the cool stuff that he does. So what do you think? Because I was really blown away by how far you've come with your training when you told me that you'd only been doing it for a few years. What do you think the secret to your success is to get such great results in such a short amount of time?
I think in some ways, some things went all right. Like my compression wasn't too hard for me. I had to work for it, but I see more of my clients who have way more of a struggle with it. And then other things just still are coming so slowly. It's just one of these things where I think training strength the right way is a very good approach to becoming a little bit more flexible. So in my mind, strength means safety, and safety means range. So that's kind of what I've been using. And for some of the exercises that I was doing before, I, just by accident kind of got into the right routine and just starting to make good gains. And where I had, no experience whatsoever, sometimes I used techniques that was totally bullshit actually, and just that's why I'm still struggling today with other stuff. But yeah,
aren't we all, man?
Yeah,
Our clients benefit and get quicker, get good almost quicker than we do, right?
Because my clients are always better than me.
Yeah,
man, it's so insane.
Yeah. And they say, when I used to do kung fu, my teacher used to say it's almost the destiny of the student to surpass the teacher, because they benefit from all the mistakes that the teacher made. It's really cool.
Yeah, what I'm trying to do is like, if I teach somebody now online, or if I give a workshop, I try to think like, how would I want it to be coached when I was younger and stupid?
Yeah.
and that's essentially what my workshop now is, and what I teach my online students, like how I would have built myself.
Yeah.
And of course, with a lot of experience and a lot of injuries, you learn a whole lot.
Yeah.
And so you go a little bit slower, because the injuries that you sustained is one of these signs to the brain that it's not safe.
Yeah.
And the first strain is all right, you heal pretty fast. Second strain, you heal a little slower. Yeah. And these little aches and pains come popping in certain ranges, and then you need to convince the brain again that it's safe, and that can take up a whole lot of space, But it's very interesting, because you learn so much. So much. I wouldn't have it any other way, actually, because I wouldn't be a teacher if I didn't get injured, if I didn't hurt myself.
I agree. Everyone at this table has suffered some pretty bad injuries, and it's such a valuable asset when you are a trainer to be able to, like I knew, I've in the last 3 years I've had a meniscus tear and this injury to my shoulder, and I know more about the body now from those two injuries than I've ever known before.
What got me into studying physiotherapy. It's just I'm spending so much money going and seeing professionals, I can sort myself out.
That's right.
Can you say the thing you just said before, with the strength is safety and safety is range?
Yeah.
Really like that. And I think that fits in really nicely with, I guess, the unified system and just how you, the strength and the flexibility comes together.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And one of the really cool things that came out of the conversation for me that we just had over brekkie before was, I was asking you about some of the ways that you program, how you do, you're always strengthening the antagonist, so the muscle that's going to pull the joint to where you want it to go before you stretch the agonist, the muscle that you're not.
A lot of the times, yeah.
Do you want to talk us through again why you do that and why you think that's such a good idea?
Well, basic and good, efficient mobility training, in my opinion, is just strength work on both sides of the spectrum. So you've got your shortening side, like if I'm talking about a front fold, my hip flexors pull me deeper, pull my hands closer to the floor, and my hamstrings have to lengthen and just allow it. So if you're taking the concept of strength means safety and safety means range, if your hip flexor gets really strong into flexion, obviously that means that the hamstring will not complain as much, as he sees there's so much strength on the other side. And it's one of those things that can be applied to the entire body. And also sometimes we activate the shortening tissues before going into lengthening side stuff, because what fires first will always fire stronger in a contraction, or has the potential to fire stronger in contraction. So if you get your glutes ready and active and really working hard into the shortening range, after that, if you do your middle split sets, almost instantaneously, you'll probably go a little bit deeper, because all the muscles that should be pulling you actively into that position will be ready to go and will have experienced the shortening which they need to do to pull you in there.
Yeah. And if you guys want to see an example of this, we just put this video up on YouTube of this middle splits workout, where I'm giving a couple of examples of exactly that, of this concept of strengthening the glutes before you stretch the adductors. And it works, man. Like I'm getting so much more flexible using this stuff, this end range strength concepts. So listen, we're going to finish there. We've got Joachim here for the next couple of days, so we're going to have him on the show, and we will be on time tomorrow because we have to do this whole amazing setup. Yanni and Phil and Richie were working for it. But so that you guys have no Quack, I can see you've jumped on. Thanks for tuning in, brother. And Billy Bob, good to see you on the show, man, and Craig Jenkins as well. But we're going to get Joachim on tomorrow and Friday to talk some more specific stuff after I've spent a bit of time training with him. We'll have some good conversations. And if you're in Australia, if you're in Sydney and you can get down to Unity Gym this weekend, we've still got a couple of spots left for this end range strength workshop. It's going to be epic. It's going to be held at Unity Gym from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. with the man himself. We're all going to be there. So if you don't know where to get tickets, you can go to our Instagram bio. There's actually you need to DM me and I'll send you a link for it. So just put a message in here or on YouTube. And it's happening this Saturday. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Every time I watched you tap the table there, I was just like going,
sorry.
I want to do a big shout out to everyone who watches this on YouTube when we upload the stream. How sick is our setup? Smash the like button if you think so. And a big shout out to everyone listening on the podcast. Yep. How sick is the setup? You can't see, so you have to go to YouTube.
But there's four of us. There's four of us on here. You can hear four voices. So that's
right. There is four voices in this stream, and it's very exciting because this is just a test run. It's going to get pimped now, and we're going to get some pretty cool gear in here. So. Very excited.
Yeah, and a reminder for those people on the podcast, we had our first person put the voice message through. If you go to the description of the podcast, you can see how to do that. Send us a little voice message, and we can even maybe add that to the shows and get some.
Yeah, well, that's actually a really good way of playing. You can play the questions so people can hear it, and make sure you get your questions in for us, for Joachim, and for tomorrow's show. Yeah, we're very excited.
We'll see you all soon, guys. Thanks for joining us, brother.
Thank you, man.
Unity. Health is about performance, not just body image.
You better be willing to accept what you're going to have to do to get there.
We'll start focusing on movement goals, strength goals, flexibility goals.
When you nail that skill, that's there forever.
The body image goal doesn't get you that far.
It's the consistency and frequency that's going to get you there. It's not the intensity.
There's no shortcuts to mastery and movement. Destination doesn't change overnight, but your direction will.
The gym is not the place to beat up the body that you hate. It's the place to build the body that you love.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.